for 4 years. Courtney Clenney said she killed her boyfriend because she believed he was going to kill her. Her attorneys prepared witnesses, medical records, videos, experts. Evidence they said would show Courtney was trapped inside a violent relationship and acted in self-defense. Prosecutors prepared something completely different. Videos of Courtney hitting Christian, digital evidence, neighbours who heard their fights, and a medical examiner who questioned the story Courtney gave police about how the knife entered Christian's chest. A murder trial was finally approaching. Then, it never happened. Tonight, we're going back through the death of Christian Obumseli, the evidence that made this case so divided, and the plea deal that ended one of America's most closely watched influencer murder cases, without a jury ever deciding what happened inside that apartment. Welcome to the podcast You Can't Unhear. Courtney Clenney, also known online as Courtney Taylor, had built a lucrative social media career. By the time she met Christian Obumseli, she had accumulated a substantial following through Instagram and OnlyFans. Christian was 27, a cryptocurrency trader and entrepreneur. Their relationship looked glamorous online. Travel, luxury apartments, vacations, parties. But recordings, witness accounts, and police calls eventually revealed something very different. Their relationship was volatile. They screamed at one another. They fought. Police were called. Building residents complained. And there was evidence of violence. The dispute that would eventually dominate the criminal case was, who was the primary aggressor? Because each side believed the evidence answered that question differently. Courtney's lawyers said Christian physically abused her. They pointed to witnesses who reportedly saw injuries on Courtney, including bruising. Her defense also cited an independent witness who said he'd seen Christian hit Courtney, and records showing that she had previously expressed fear of him. But prosecutors had their own evidence. Surveillance video showed Courtney hitting Christian in an elevator. Another recording from Aspen showed her repeatedly striking him during an argument. Christian had also recorded some of their fights. In those recordings, Courtney could be heard insulting him, threatening him, and becoming physically aggressive. So this was never a clean case involving a perfect victim and an obvious monster. What emerged publicly was a relationship that had become dangerously unstable. The day before Christian died, police were already at their Miami condominium. Courtney told officers she wanted Christian out. She said they had broken up. According to reporting from the time, she asked about getting a restraining order. But Christian was legally residing there, and officers said they couldn't simply remove him without legal grounds. Less than 24 hours later, Christian would be dead. Courtney and Christian were inside their apartment at One Paraíso in Miami's Edgewater neighborhood. They argued. Again. Exactly what happened immediately before the fatal injury would become the central dispute of the entire case. Courtney said Christian attacked her. She described being pushed, pinned against a wall, and choked. According to her version, she eventually grabbed a kitchen knife. She said Christian charged toward her, and she threw the knife at him from several feet away. The knife struck Christian in the chest. Courtney called for help. Christian was rushed to Jackson Memorial Hospital, where he died. The medical examiner determined the wound penetrated approximately 3 inches and injured a major blood vessel, and that created a problem for Courtney's version. The prosecution's medical evidence suggested the wound was more consistent with a direct stabbing motion than a knife casually thrown from approximately 10 feet away. Courtney's defense disputed that conclusion. They even conducted their own experiments with knife-throwing experts, arguing that a thrown knife could have created the injury. So by the time trial approached, even the mechanics of the fatal wound had become a battle between experts. Christian's family would later focus heavily on what Courtney did immediately afterward. According to their statements, Courtney contacted her mother, then building security, before 911. To them, that sequence reflected a lack of urgency towards saving Christian. Courtney's defense strongly disagreed with the idea that she simply let him die. Body camera footage showed her covered in blood, telling officers that she had been trying to help him and pleading for paramedics to save him. Again, the same moments created two completely different interpretations. One family saw indifference. The defense saw panic. And without a trial, a jury would never decide between them. Courtney wasn't charged with murder that day. Police initially investigated the stabbing, while her lawyers maintained self-defense. Months passed. Then, in August 2022, the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office announced a second-degree murder charge. Courtney was arrested in Hawaii and brought back to Florida. She would remain incarcerated from August 10, 2022 onward. And for the next 4 years, the case became increasingly complicated. One of the saddest details to emerge involved Christian discussing his own relationship. According to material reported before trial, he had written messages questioning whether loving Courtney might eventually get him killed. His family also said Courtney had previously injured him, including cutting him during earlier confrontations. Those allegations became part of their argument that Christian, not Courtney, had been the victim trapped inside an abusive relationship. Courtney's defense maintained exactly the opposite. Their position was that Christian had a documented history of violence toward her, and that the final confrontation happened after repeated abuse. This is why reducing the case to OnlyFans model kills boyfriend misses what actually made the prosecution difficult. The killing wasn't disputed. Justification was. For prosecutors to win the murder case, they needed to persuade jurors that Courtney's use of deadly force wasn't legally justified. Her defense planned to put the couple's entire relationship on trial. Videos, medical records, neighbors, text messages, police reports, experts. Every bruise, every argument, every recording could potentially mean something different depending on which side was explaining it. And the stakes were enormous. A conviction could mean decades in prison. An acquittal could mean Courtney eventually walked away from the homicide charge entirely. Then, weeks before trial, the equation changed. On July 31st, 2026, Courtney's attorneys confirmed that negotiations had produced a plea agreement. The details remained private until the hearing. Then came Monday, August 10th. Courtney entered the Miami courtroom before Judge Andrea Ricker Wolfson. The second-degree murder charge would not go before a jury. Instead, Courtney pleaded guilty to manslaughter with a deadly weapon. 6 years in prison. 5 years of reporting probation. And credit for every day she'd already spent incarcerated since her arrest exactly 4 years earlier. So while 6 years sounds like 6 more years, that's not how the sentence works. Courtney has already served approximately 4. Current reporting therefore estimates she may have roughly 2 additional years remaining, subject to Florida corrections calculations and any applicable credits. The probation matters too. When Courtney leaves custody, the criminal sentence isn't simply over. She's expected to remain under supervision for another 5 years, and violations could expose her to significantly harsher consequences. According to reporting from the sentencing, conditions also address treatment and behavioural intervention connected to the circumstances surrounding the case. For prosecutors, the plea guaranteed something a trial could not: a conviction, prison, and Courtney accepting criminal responsibility. Christian's family supported the plea agreement. That doesn't mean they considered 6 years enough. It means they accepted certainty after 4 years of litigation. Miami-Dade State Attorney Catherine Fernandez-Rundle said the agreement had been reached with the family's consultation and approval, and described the guilty plea as the accountability they had long sought. Then, Christian's family spoke. His mother's statement was read in court by another relative. She described the moment she learned Christian was dead, and the years of anxiety, sleepless nights, fear, and grief that followed. She had spoken to her son shortly before his death. Then suddenly, she was receiving a call no mother expects. Her son wasn't coming home. For the Obumseli family, the plea closed the criminal case. It didn't close anything else. Courtney did not address the court at the sentencing hearing. That detail mattered to Christian's relatives. They had waited years for accountability. Some had also wanted an apology, a direct acknowledgement of the suffering caused by his death. They didn't receive one publicly that day. Instead, her guilty plea became the acknowledgement. Legally, Courtney accepted responsibility for causing Christian's death through manslaughter with a deadly weapon. Emotionally, Christian's family was left with whatever closure that could provide. Afterward, Courtney's attorneys were still emphatic. They maintained that substantial evidence supported their claim that she had experienced domestic violence and acted to protect herself. So naturally, people asked, if you believed you could prove self-defense, why plead guilty? The answer was surprisingly practical. Trials are unpredictable. A defense lawyer can believe deeply in a case and still lose. A prosecutor can have strong evidence and still watch a jury acquit. Courtney had already spent 4 years incarcerated. The plea gave her a known outcome, approximately 2 more years, rather than gambling against a potential sentence measured in decades. Her lawyer publicly acknowledged exactly that uncertainty. You simply don't know what a jury will do. And perhaps that explains the prosecution too. They traded the possibility of a much longer murder sentence for a guaranteed felony conviction, a guilty plea, and a resolution accepted by Christian's family. Neither side got everything. Both sides removed the risk of getting nothing. There is another unusual piece of the agreement. The state raised Florida law restricting criminals from profiting from the notoriety of their offences. The obvious concern is straightforward. Courtney had built a career monetizing attention. Her case had generated international headlines. Documentaries, interviews, books, and other projects could potentially be lucrative. Prosecutors made clear that conviction doesn't create a new business opportunity. Courtney's attorney immediately reserved the right to challenge any application of that law on constitutional grounds. So even after the criminal case ends, there may still be future disputes about who can profit from telling this story. And that's almost painfully appropriate, because for 4 years, Courtney Clenney and Christian Obumseli became content. Arguments online over which one was the abuser. People who never knew either of them became certain they understood a relationship that the two people inside it couldn't safely navigate themselves. But one fact sits underneath every argument. Christian Obumseli was 27 years old when he died. Whatever happened before the knife entered his chest, whatever violence existed between them, whatever evidence a jury might have heard, he never got another day. Courtney did. And on August 10th, 2026, she finally entered a guilty plea. Not murder. Not complete exoneration through self-defense. Manslaughter. Maybe that's why the ending feels unsatisfying to almost everyone watching. The prosecution once accused her of murder. The defense spent years saying she shouldn't be criminally responsible at all. And the case ended somewhere between those two positions. 6 years. 5 years of probation. No trial, no jury, no final public answer to the question people had argued about since 2022. What exactly happened between Courtney Clenney and Christian Obumseli in the moments before he died? The criminal case is closed. That question probably never will be. Thanks for joining me tonight. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe. And I'll see you on the next episode of the podcast You Can't Unhear.